Hey guys, Crystal here from Indy Hip Chick, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new CoverFX Power Play Foundation. So if you're interested to see my impressions on this foundation and how it works for my extremely dry skin, just keep watching. So before we get into the demo portion of this review, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of information and background on the CoverFX Power Play Foundation in general. So according to Sephora, the CoverFX Power Play Foundation is a full coverage foundation. It's recommended for combination or oily skin, and it should have a matte finish. They call it a modern matte blurring foundation with weightless full coverage that provides sweat-proof all-day wear, long-lasting shine control, environmental protection, and a finish that will not oxidize. So those are some very, very, very steep promises that they're making there. So yeah, let's hope for the best. That's a lot. Like, you don't oxidize, you're supposed to last all day, you're sweat proof, long-lasting shine control. And I have some shine problems, and it's not even because I get oily, it's more because my face I have dry skin, so I get dry. And so when you get dry and you're kind of depriving your face, you start overproducing oil. So like my nose area and my forehead, that's usually where it happens, because that's where where it's driest. So we shall see how that goes. It is vegan, it's waterproof, transfer proof, and it says I think that's all. So I will go ahead and get into the application process and let you guys know how I apply it and what I think about it as far as like in general. And I'll be wearing this all day, so I will come back and provide like my full day review of it in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start off by priming our face with the Too Faced Hangover Primer. This primer is supposed to be good for people who have like dry skin. It kind of doesn't dry you out, doesn't mattify anything. It's yeah, it's just kind of like a replenishing primer, kind of like keeps you hydrated and everything like that. And since the CoverFX Power Play Foundation is a matte and it's kind of dry, I decided to try this primer out for that, to see if maybe it would be a less drying, because I've used it with some of my more mattifying primers, and like my forehead area always like gets super dry and it just doesn't look that great when I've used mattifying primers with this foundation. And I haven't used this foundation a whole lot. I've probably used it maybe 2 or 3 times. And so that's just what I've observed from using it, is that for people with dry skin, if you want to try to use this, I would suggest using maybe a more nutrient-rich primer, so that you don't have like dry on top of dry, or matte on top of matte, whatever you want to call it. And this primer is actually really convenient. Like, you would think that it's more of a pump type of primer, but it has like a little, not a pump, but like a squeezy type of primer, but it has a little pump on it, which is really nice. And it's actually a lot bigger than I was anticipating it being. Like, this is a pretty big bottle for a primer. Like, usually my primers are tiny, so it was nice seeing that it was this big. So, and this is actually one of the first times I've used this, so hopefully this works. It has coconut water and probiotics, and it is a silicone-free primer. So we shall see how it works with the CoverFX Power Play. So for the CoverFX primer, I have color G70, which is what the Sephora thing recommended, I believe. And then also when I put it on in the store, it looked like it matched pretty well. So we shall see how it looks in this video, because sometimes I feel like it matches and sometimes it's not quite there, until I like get to the end and I put everything else on. So we shall see. And this one is like a little squeezy bottle too. And it's kind of hard to squeeze, to be honest, because it's so like, I don't know, this little square action is a little difficult to squeeze out. I'm using my little Anastasia Beverly Hills little lip thing to put the foundation on, and here it is. So we're going to apply this to our face, and I am going to use a brush for this application, and we're going to see how well it covers. So that is one layer of the foundation, and I don't think it's too bad. It definitely kind of covers, but it definitely, like you can still see the dark spots peering through with just the one layer. So I am going to add a second layer in some of my problem areas, and we shall see if we can build this up some. Now, one thing I did notice with this foundation in general is that if you let this foundation sit, like, it will be harder to blend out. So if you have like an area that you are trying to build up, maybe leaving it on there just a little longer and then going in and kind of stippling it out. But I wouldn't leave it on there too long, because this foundation is kind of dry, and if you don't get to it, it will literally be stuck in that spot. It'll be hard to kind of blend out and get it to match the rest of your face. No, I don't think it's too bad. I definitely look super yellow on camera, but in person I don't feel like it looks too like out of my shade range. But it definitely could just be these lights being as bright as they are that it's kind of reflecting off my face. But I feel like it didn't do too bad, like with the coverage. Like I still do see like some like dark spots kind of coming through, but I don't feel like it's terrible. Like maybe I'll put a little bit more here. But yeah, I don't think it's like all that bad as far as like coverage. Like, and this is just 2 layers, and I feel like it did pretty good job. What I will do is I'll take my little concealer brush and I'll go over some of those areas that I think need just a little bit more coverage, just to cover those. Because I'm not using any color correctors or anything. I'm just going straight in with the foundation and using it as kind of like the spot concealer. I don't think that's too bad. I do think it looks a little dry on my nose area, like as far as just in general the product looks a little dry. But I mean, I don't think it looks too bad. Yeah. Let's go ahead and put everything else on, and we will see how it looks when I have the rest of my face done. If I still like it, or if I'm kind of like about it. Okay, and we are back, and I have everything else applied on top of the CoverFX foundation, and I really like how it looks. I think it looks really nice. I think without like putting on your contour, your bronzer and stuff, the foundation is a little yellow, but I feel like once you get everything else on, that it looks really good and has a really nice finish. Just in general, I think it looks kind of natural to me anyway. I will say that if you have dry skin like me, I know I have like a scar up here in this area, and whenever you add an extra layer of whenever I added an extra layer of foundation up here to try to cover that scar a little bit more, it kind of got more dry and it looked a little cracky in general. But I feel like at this moment it doesn't look too bad after I applied my bronzer and my setting spray. So for the other things that I used today to get this look, I used the Anastasia, I don't know how to say it right. Anastasia, I don't know. Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, and I used the colors Tempura, golden ochre, raw sienna, burnt orange, and Regar? I don't know. For my eye area. Well, for my eyes. And then I lined it with the Kat Von D's tattoo liner in the color Mad Max Brown. Then I used the Benefits Precisely My Brow Pencil in 6 for my brows. I used Maybelline's Colossal Big Shot for my eyeshadow in the Black is Black, of course. I sat under my eyes with the La Mercier translucent powder, and I sprayed it with a little bit of the Too Faced Hangover setting spray, which I also used for my entire face to set it. I used the Urban Decay Naked Illuminated highlighter in the color Lit for my highlighted areas. And then I used L'Oreal's Infallible Paints, the coral blush within there for my my blush, which I really, really love. For this to be like a drugstore blush, I love this little blush set. It's really nice. Like, I usually use the coral color here and then that pink color, but I love those two colors. Like, I feel like they look really good on my skin tone. Like, I don't know, I love them. It kind of gives a nice natural inner glow look to me. I don't know, I just like them a whole lot. And I've been using them for a while. Like, every look I feel like I incorporate this blush palette, so I really like this palette a lot, and I shall continue to use it, and I recommend it. It is like $10 or 10 or 13 bucks or something like that at the drugstore. So when I got it, I was like, oh, $10 for a drugstore, but you do get 4 pans and they're pretty decent size, and it has lasted me for a while, so I really like it a lot. What else did I use? For bronzer, I used the Sephora Micro Smooth in the color Deep Ebony, which is actually going out of, they're not going to be making these anymore, the Micro Smooths, and I just found this and I love it. Like, I use the regular one, the tan one, to set my face instead of using translucent powder sometimes, and I love that. And so I just started using this deep as a bronzer, and I'm so sad they're not going to have this anymore, but it's a pretty decent size, so I'm hoping that it lasts for a while. Maybe I can find a couple more in store before they, forever gone. The lady at the store did say that their powder foundation that they have would be a good substitute for this, and it's a lot smoother and a lot softer, so I may try that in the future. But this stuff is nice, and I recommend buying it before they're out of stock. They are out of stock of a lot of the colors online, but if you can find it in your store, I definitely recommend it. Well, in a Sephora, near you. What else did I use for my face? Oh, for my lips. For my lips, I used the Fenty Gloss Bomb, which is my love of love lip glosses. I just put that on by itself, and so I have like me but better lips right now. So I just really like this gloss. I feel like it's a nice little natural look that it gives you, like you but better. I think that is all for the things that I've used on my face. So my overall feelings on this foundation, I do like it a lot. I do feel like it does cling to some dry areas. As far as like, I feel like my nose looks a little dry, but I feel like once you spray it with a setting spray, or once it kind of soaks into your face, it looks a lot better than when you first apply it. Because when you first apply it, it's kind of like, this is dry. And I don't usually know if it's gonna, well, I didn't feel like it was gonna work for my face at first, because I have extremely dry skin, so I didn't think that, I thought it was maybe a little bit too matte. But once you spray it, and if you use like a hydrating primer, I think it works pretty well. I will be wearing this throughout the day, and I'll check in again to kind of let you guys know, like, as far as like how it stuck, and just show you how it looks in general. But I have worn it before, and I felt like I liked it throughout the entire day, but I will show you just so you can see it yourself. Like I said, I do use a more hydrating setting spray and primer when I apply this specific foundation. I use the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 replenishing primer and setting spray to set my face today. And this primer is super wet, so when you use it, like, be aware that when you spray it, I don't know, this nozzle, like, it releases, it's not a mist. There is nothing mist about it. It is wet. So be prepared for that. So maybe don't put on your eyeliner before you put this on, because it may make it run a little. But so far I haven't had that problem. I always put on my eyeliner and I'm like, crap, I need to spray my face. So I always get a little scared, but it didn't do too bad today. But yeah, so right now it is 3:44 in the afternoon. I started this venture probably about 2:30ish, so I probably had the foundation at least on for about an hour so far. And I will check back in a few hours to show you guys how my face looks and just, you know, give my final impressions on the foundation in general. Okay, so I'm back for my end of the day check-in on the CoverFX foundation, and it is about 11:25 right now, and I think I started this process at like 2ish. I think that's what I said. So that gives me about 9 hours of wear currently, and you know, it's about crease city time for me, because usually about, you know, 8 or 9 hours in, my eyeshadow starts to clock out right in this crease area. That's where it starts creasing and stuff. So that's usually a good judge of it's been a long day. I will say overall, I think the foundation did really well. Actually, I don't see any parts of my face that I feel like are extremely greasy. There's a little bit of oil on my forehead, but it's not really all that bad at all compared to, you know, some other foundations that I've used. It actually did really well. Usually my nose gets oily, but I've actually been blowing my nose all day because I kind of have a cold. So I highly doubt there's any foundation even on my nose still. But it's nice that you can't really tell if it is or if it isn't. But yeah, so I can't really judge, you know, my nose because I've been blowing it. And I will also say, like, when I've been blowing my nose, like when I look at the tissue paper, there has been like minimal foundation on the tissue. So I really feel like this foundation really does attempt to stick. Like, I mean, you can't really fight, you know, snot nose, but I feel like in just regular conditions that foundation would probably still be on my nose if I wasn't, you know, constantly blowing it. Because I didn't even, like, cause you know, like when you wipe your foundation with like when you pat it or anything like that, like you get a lot of foundation sometimes on the cloth or tissue paper or whatever you use to pat the oil, and there was barely anything. So I feel like there's probably still foundation on my nose, and this foundation just really, really sticks. Some of the, you know, dark spots on my face are kind of peering through at this point now. Like right here and right there, you can see some of the scarring kind of coming through. So I think I probably lost some foundation here and there, but overall I feel like it looks really, really good still. There was no point during the day that I felt, you know, super oily. There's no point that I felt like the foundation was getting heavy. Yeah, I feel like it did really well, especially for me having dry skin and this being a matte foundation, and knowing that my face does produce extra oil when I use matte foundations. It did really, really, really well. So I know it's advertised for combination and oily skin, but it may work for you, girl, if you have dry skin. So I would give it a shot. Yeah, I just really like it. I feel like it has a great natural finish. Like, it's not too matte, it's not too natural or satin or whatever you call it. Like, it doesn't have that super like dewy look. It's just right in that middle space, and I feel like it just looks really good to me. I don't know, I like it a lot, and this will definitely be a foundation that I continue to use and will probably continue to purchase in the future. Because I just like the way it feels. I like the way it looks. I feel like, I don't know, it looks like my skin, but better to me anyway. Like, I really, really like it. Trying to think of other things that I may need to tell you guys before I clock out about the foundation. Yeah, I think that's all. I definitely recommend this foundation, and I really like it a lot. Like, I think it looks really, really good after 8 to 9 hours of wear, and it's still sticking in there, and I don't feel super greasy. I don't look oily. I actually have not blotted today at all. So this is me, just straight up me, with no blotting. So I really like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it looks good. I do. Well, I am tired, so I am going to go ahead and get up off of here so I can wash my face. Like always, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you have any feedback, comments, questions, concerns, products you'd like us to review, just recommendations in general, go on ahead and put that in the comment section below. We love to hear from you guys. But yeah, that is all that I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.